We seem to have lost the line and the connection there with Captain Randhawa. We'll try and get him back in just a moment. But meanwhile, let me quickly go across to my colleague Sajeet, who's standing by. We tried contacting the Tata Sons group on this investigation report. Sources have told NDTV Profit that Air India only has a preliminary report. This is something that Sajeet, our panelists, have also been echoing, and that Air India was not part of the investigations undertaken. Give us all of the details, though.
That's right, Sanjana. As you know, this entire investigation is being spearheaded by AAIB, which is the Indian version of the Aircraft Security Agency, which looks into any kind of accidents. And it's also been an NTSB, which is the US arm, is also part of it. But none of the airlines, either the OEM or the operator, is part of this investigation. So this report, which came out late last night or early morning after 1 a.m. That's a 15-page report which Air India has, and Air India has confirmed that they have received this report from AAIB. At this point in time, they don't have anything to say on this because beyond what has been given in the initial report, and primarily because there is not enough details for them to comment on it. Of course, there are a couple of things that some of the sources are talking about. Is so basically everything is boiling down to a two-line comment on how the pilots have reacted to the fuel switch off. But again, the entire flight was of 32 seconds, and there is no details of what happened in that 32 seconds. And as some of our panelists also spoke, it's not easy to switch off fuel. It requires a physical effort to do so. So it's again boils down to how the engineering investigation comes up into it. So this report, which has come exactly in a month after the crash, will again there will be a lot of more investigation coming into each and every aspect of it, whether it's a flight data recorder or black box details of or every part which includes switch over from ground to air, on which many of our panelists are talking about. Those things, those details will have to come out before Air India or Boeing can comment on it. Both of them are bound by Section 13, which prevents them from commenting on any report or on investigation. So this entire investigation, we are told, will take at least 9 to 12 months before a final report is brought out. This is just a preliminary report based on the initial evidences which have come in and initial recordings which have come in. But it requires a detailed investigation with respect to engineering, because the question still remains: how did the fuel switch off happened, and what happened in those 4 or 5 seconds? We just have one audio of the two pilots talking about it, but beyond that, there's nothing to tell us what was conspiring in the cockpit or within the aircraft, because it took off at 180 knots, which is a normal speed to take off an aircraft, and then suddenly you have flame out happening with both the engines together, and there's an attempt to recycle the switch fuel so that the engines can restart. One starts, but it doesn't get enough thrust. The second one starts, but the thrust doesn't come in. So I think it's something which is more needed from the investigation point of view, and that's what our sources are saying, that is very it's not fair for them to comment on this point at this point in time. Tata Sons, which owns Air India, has decided not to comment on it because it's entirely an Air India domain at this point in time. So they will go by what Air India has to say, and Air India is bound by the conventions, which is Article Annexure 13, which prevents them from commenting on it. And so does so does Boeing is also there. So there are a couple of things which are in play as well. There's also one in a reference to the advisory which came in 2018. That was with respect to 737s. What crashed was a 787 Dreamliner. The advisory was non-mandatory in nature. So again, it's basically expanding the scope from GE to Boeing to Honeywell, and there are multiple more vendors who would be part of making of an aircraft. So that entire discussion or detailed investigation has to come in before the airline or the OEM responds to it.
Absolutely, Sajeet. Thank you for that very comprehensive information coming in from sources.